Okay, so we're here, and we're going to make sure that we match up all of our marks, and we're going to pin like we normally do. So I'm going to go down through here, make sure I'm coming up the back and coming back up on my lovely line here, and putting in a cross pin here. And I'm going to keep going down the line here. And this is why I told you to go ahead and, put all your markings out there so that we can see everything, so that we can make it easier for us when we start doing our stitching. So I'm going to keep on pinning. I'm not on the line there, so I'm going to get on the line. There we go. Make sure I'm on the line up here. And then now, oh, that's really off. Here, and there we go. So now I'm gonna go back up here to the top, and I'm gonna start stitching this. So I'm gonna start actually beyond my seam, like inside the seam allowance here, because I want to go ahead and that's where I want to do a quick little back stitch in order to make this thing stay. So I'm gonna do a quick little back stitch. And so now we have a nice little anchor point. And now we're just going to do a very tiny running stitch. So we're going to go down and up, down, up, down, up. And we're just going to pull. Now we're doing them this small because we don't want this thing to just fall apart. We can do our larger running stitches when we get down here to our fold area, because it's just going to hold it together for a hot second. Up here, because we want to use them as actual stitching, we want to make sure that it's nice and tight and small. So I'm going to keep going. Actually, I'm going to do a quick little back stitch here. So we're going to do, it's called the running back stitch if you recall from the video. We go down, up, down. Now we don't have to do it as small as in the video, but we do want to make it small enough that it makes sense. So this stitch is probably too big, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going because ain't nobody got time to go back and fix that for right now. So just doing a quick little back stitch, and now we're going to do some more running stitches. Now remember, we want to make sure that this is nice and taut, that we keep a nice tension on it. So we do definitely want to pull our stitches tight. And we're going to stop here. Do a quick little back stitch, maybe two. And we're done with that part. Now for this next section, we want to just do our long running stitches that we've done in the past. So we're going to go ahead and pin it together, and then we'll running stitch it, and I'll be back in just a moment to show you. Okay, so now we've got our very small running back stitch up here, and we have our lovely running stitch here. Now we're going to do the exact same thing
to the other side.
Okay, so now that I've stitched both sides together, so this one has been done by hand. And if you do have a machine, you can certainly do it by machine. I've done this side by machine. So as we go through, I'll do one side by hand and one side by machine so you guys can see. So I've stitched along this line, and down here I've stretched my stitch length out to a 5 and just kind of basted this side down. So, as we all know in the costume shop, if you seam it, you better damn well steam it. So now we need to go to the iron and we need to press this guy open so that it opens up just like this. So we're going to press it so it's nice and flat open like this. And so this will get us to finishing step number 3. Okay, so step number 4, we're going to pin our pleat underlays in and we're going to stitch them in. So we're going to grab piece number 3, and that's the piece that's shaped like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to lay them down so that the hem of them matches the bottom, and we're going to match up where all of our points are underneath here. And actually, I'm sorry, we should be able to see all of our markings. And so we're going to stitch from this point at the very tip of our pleat underlay to the side and then straight down. Now remember, when we're stitching this, we are only stitching through on this lovely folded back portion. We are not stitching through to the outside of the garment. So we're just going to stitch from the point here all the way to the side and then down just on the seam allowance. So I'm going to pin it and then I'm going to stitch it. that I've completed this one, I'm going to go to the sewing machine and stitch this one. So if you're doing this by sewing machine, we're going to start at the top and work our way down on one side, and then go back to the other side from the top and work our way down on the sewing machine. Okay, so step 4 is complete. We have our pleat underlays in on both sides. We can see them stitched in nicely here. And now step 5 is we're going to turn this guy over. And up here at the top, from our point of our pleat upwards, we're going to do a top stitch to hold everything down. So what that means is we're just going to go just on either side, so within ½ inch of each side of the seam, we're going to do a running stitch on both sides to help hold everything down. Okay, so I've gone through and I've hand running stitched on this side, what it should look like, and on this side I've done it by the machine, so this is what it should look like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to release our running stitch that we had done down here that cover the pleats, and that will be the end of step 5. Okay, so that's steps 1 through 5. Come back next time and we'll work on steps number 6 through 9. I'll see you later and have a great day.